of 2017. This is almost a year after Virginia. I mean, it had been a while. Tim Beeson still wasn't letting up. He still wasn't leaving me alone. He'd been calling and harassing me for months and been not text messaging, but making fake profiles, sending me emails. I gave people my phone number. I gave Natalie my phone number, and Alicia my phone number, and Maddie Bowe my phone number. That's who I was told that I needed to get a hold of. Try to settle it out of court. Just needed to man up and ignore it, things like that. Uh, Alright, so if I don't get my paperwork done, which I need help with, then I don't get my disability money. If I don't get my disability money, then I can't pay the ticket that I have. If I don't get help with the electronic stuff, then I can't get my insurance printed out up there in the library. If I can't get my stuff charged or get enough money to get my car insurance paid for next month, then I'm going to have the same issue. If I can't pay for gas, I can't drive to all the places I'm told to go to. It's not safe for me to drive, but if I can't get people to understand that, I'm still going to be expected to drive to all these appointments. Meanwhile, I can't walk to them. There's no way, they're too far apart. If there was a service that was right next door to housing and I was in housing, that's one thing. If I don't turn in crimes against me right away, then nothing will get done about it, and I'll be treated like I didn't try at all. If I try to turn it in right away, which I've recorded many times, then it doesn't matter. If I record it and it's just me, and there's nobody who cares that I'm blown off, and my predators like Molly continue to do it, I can't have any faith in those officers. They're going to do their jobs. If I don't drive to all the places I'm told to go to for them to deny me over and over and over again because I go in alone, well, here's the thing. If I don't get you to listen, to understand why it is that you have to be a part of that, why you can't send me in alone, how it is that you're taking advantage of my disabilities by talking over me, especially when I'm in a state of crisis. If I don't get you to understand that just because I am a male doesn't mean I'm a bad guy, doesn't make it okay to blame me for all of your problems, if I don't get you to understand that, you're going to keep on hurting me for it. I knew if I didn't get Natalie to understand that people were hurting me, if I didn't get my friends to understand that people were hurting me, if I didn't get them to at least listen to understand why, instead of giving me advice on what to do, nearly all of them, their solutions are always social isolation. Hey, why don't you just move somewhere else? Hey, just don't go there anymore. When my friends in Boulder are telling me just to, if people are being predatory towards you, just don't go where they're predatory towards you. Well, that meant I couldn't go to Boulder and I couldn't see them. Also, effective communication. If I don't get you to understand that listening to me speak may be boring, but it's important. It's important for my trust in you. If I don't get you to understand that all of your excuses and or reasons why you were too busy why you were afraid. If you don't come forward with those things, if I don't get you to come forward with those things, I gotta post them on the internet and then you'll hate me. And I know that. I know that you'll hate me, but it's worth it. Because people's lives are at stake. They've been at stake. Clearview Behavioral Health is, in fact, closed down. They just changed the name to Johnstown Behavioral Health now. Now they're in trouble for doing exactly the same things that they did to me and also to Tibor Hatay. There's a lot of witnesses like Michelle Rodriguez who do, in fact and indeed, exist. If I don't get you to understand why it is that your part of the story is so important, then you're never going to come forward. You're always going to pawn me off on someone else who's going to pawn me off on someone else. They're all referral services until you have a friend or family member who cares enough to verify you're telling the truth. When you have to beg them to look at evidence, and no matter what, they'll spend literally hours and hours and hours on the phone arguing with you when they could be looking at evidence and speaking up. Could be making phone calls with you. When people say, I believe you, really, if you believe me, then have faith and call with me and explain how unsafe it is. I want you to know beyond any shadow of a doubt that you're telling the truth when you speak about my situation because you've looked at the evidence. That's what I want. But if you're going to tell me you believe me instead of looking at evidence, understand that many people have done that. And that doesn't help me because my predators go through, find little bits and pieces they can use out of context and pretend all sorts of horrible things. When I said that I was the one who was begging for death far before Natalie ever did, that's the truth. The things that they said to me, said about me, and said about me to my friends and my family. Later on, they said that to the media, and now it's all around the world. And you can ask Miss Dolene. The thing that she got in Palestine, in Bethlehem, actually, that's where she says she lives. She sent me something in Arabic. It's a thing about Natalie, but in their version, he says that I killed her. You know what? Part of Natalie's death is actually my fault. I wasn't able to get anybody to listen. They were too busy showing they had no respect for me by telling me what to do, what to think, and what to feel, but not finding out what's going on before giving me pretty memes. Oh, you just need to love yourself. If I didn't love myself, I wouldn't be trying to get help. You tell me just to worry about myself and just to take care of myself. If I do that, you call me selfish. You tell me I need to worry about other people. I need to not think about myself first because that's selfish. Well, I don't think about myself first. I think about all of your kids first. I don't care if you're my best friend of 20 years. If a kid tells me that you're hurting them, I'm going to say something. But people don't listen because of the term mentally ill. Autistic and post-traumatic stress disorder. Diagnosed by somebody who has had the time to actually diagnose those things. And instead of somebody who's just writing down and believing what Sheriff Scott DaCosta said, or what another officer said when I tried to turn in bad cops. They're still sending me around in circles after 7 years, not just on the phone, but also sending me to different locations. Once it's unsafe for me to be somewhere, then they want me to set up shop in that area. They want me to stay in that area, get all the mail and all that money that it takes to do all that. But meanwhile, by that point, the cops have already slandered me to the public and also to the homeless. And everywhere I go, I record the fact that they are, in fact and indeed, telling the homeless things that are not true. People who are going to help me, going to come forward, going to tell the truth. But the police in each of these places were telling all of these people things that were untrue. Telling Logan and Shayna things that were untrue. Telling Ashley Farnsworth things that were untrue. Intentionally trying to paint me as a monster that I'm not, and the only thing that you'll listen to is me screaming for help. If I don't get you to listen to understand what I'm going through and why, put yourself in my position when I'm speaking about what I'm going through, instead of interrupting me to the point that I'm basically just trying to get out as much information as I can, which makes it so that my words don't come together right. How about close your eyes, listen, and pretend that you're me. Pretend that you are me. When I tell you that something happened to me, you think about those things happening to you. There was a guy named Chris Stegeman, and his favorite thing to think about was torture, and he'd just always talk about torture. And he asked me one day, he said, "So who do you think about? You know, when I'm talking about torture and stuff like that." And I said, "Well, I think about me. I think about, you know, if someone was torturing me, what would suck?" And he said, "Yeah, me too." I said, "You think about people torturing you?" He said, "No, I think about torturing you." He was thinking about torturing me when he was telling me those things. Grosses me out. But that's the difference between a good listener and the rest of you. You think that telling someone how to think and how to feel, you do make the time to finally call them up. You don't do it on time. You don't do it in a timely and efficient manner. You let them go for weeks at a time. More crimes are committed against them in that week's time, and now they have a whole week's worth of crimes that have been committed against them. They're hoping that you'll listen, but then when you do call, you tell them how to think and how to feel, and tell them how you're too busy and how you've been too busy, and you want to talk about yourself. And by that point, I'm already having a panic attack and a mental breakdown and begging people, please help me end it. And then I get in trouble for saying those things, for typing those things. Begging for help. See, I asked for it long before Natalie ever did. I explained it too. How horrible it is to treat a person like this. When you bully somebody until they literally try to end their lives, you done something wrong. But it was Natalie's family and friends that were bullying her and me. They were gaslighting her and me, and there is ample evidence of that. But none of you want to see it. None of you want to read any of the stuff that shows Natalie thought she was in love with me. That her sister and her are the ones that invited me to her house. Her mom's house, I'm sorry. You don't want to look at any of the evidence that shows that Alicia Bollinger did, in fact, change over my number to another phone, a broken phone, an HTC phone. And then she quit her job within 10 minutes of changing that over. It took hours. While Natalie and her family pretended like I stalked her in Virginia, you get to see the messages between her and I, her sister and I, Maddie Boa and I, that show that we all planned the trip. There's also a lot of people who are involved in getting me home. There's also my hospital paperwork that shows that I was dehydrated. It shows that I was taken to the hospital. I wasn't arrested. I was taken to the hospital. It was a medical emergency. You know, when I have to go to police officers who committed felonies against me, and what those police officers do is try to have me locked up on a mental health hold, they call me schizophrenic, delusional, and bipolar. My mental health worker, Marcia Estrada, the evidence with her shows that I'm not. shows that I'm overwhelmed, that I am on the spectrum. That means autistic, that I do have post-traumatic stress disorder. Most of the traits that you want to attribute to autism, no, those are traits of post-traumatic stress disorder, and the ones that I'm exhibiting are specifically the traits of long-term abuse, including neglect. I have no friends or family here. There are people who are nice. There are even people who have claimed that they're my friends, but they don't care. They just talk over me, tell me how to think and how to feel. They can't close their eyes and visualize it. If I can't get my paperwork done, I don't have any money for next month. I can't pay my bill. I've got my stuff that's up in the mountains. If I can't get somebody to help me go up there for basically free, and help me basically for free, I'm screwed. I had to make a lot of decisions based on the help that I had at the time. I spent a lot of money to pay people for help that I'm sent to for help that repeatedly don't show up. I'm told by mandated reporters to go to drug addicts for help. Them pushing me to get help from these peers who are drug addicts. They're not my peers. I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. That's one of the most important things, is that my predators wanted to claim that I was the one on drugs. They wanted to claim that I was the one who was stalking. Natalie's tox report showed that she was on drugs when she died. The drugs I told you she was on. And I didn't want to come forward and go public with that. I had to. I had to show the public and my friends the things that they didn't want to see. They just wanted to ignore it and pretend like their pretty words fixed it. Pretty words fix nothing. Helping the victim to show what's going on. Speaking up right away. That's what's important. A lot of people type to me that they believe me, but they never looked at evidence and never tried speaking up. And then later on, when I showed evidence, they claimed that they believed me, but that they didn't show up. They didn't show any evidence. They didn't speak up with me. A lot of people claimed that they tried going to the police and that the police wouldn't listen. And I've got evidence, my very own evidence, of police doing exactly that as well. But we didn't work together, did we? I've got plenty of evidence of people threatening to kill me and my friends and family. So why don't you help me to share that and speak up for the fact that that's happening? I posted up a lot of evidence to you already. There's also the stuff that was said about me in court, and I'm willing to try to send that stuff to you and to invest the time, but I need to know that you're going to do something with it, that you're going to work around my disabilities instead of me having to work around yours, and later on people pretending that my disabilities magically don't exist, only theirs do. That I was being inconsiderate by speaking up, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm showing that I did go to people for help, that people were trying to help me, that I was cut off from them because of exactly things like this. I didn't start off recording my friends and family. At first, I didn't even have the ability to. By the time I did have the ability to, everybody was busy ignoring me. The harder I tried to get help, the more they got angry with me for trying to get help. I had to reach out in public. I wasn't threatening to kill Natalie. I was begging her to kill me. Get that through your head. It was because people like Tim Beeson and many others through fake accounts were getting a hold of me and threatening to kill me and threatening to kill my friends and threatening to kill my family, and wouldn't leave me alone, wouldn't stop assaulting me when I went to go see my friends and family in Boulder. They wouldn't leave me alone, and I tried to go to my friends and family, and I tried to let them know, but they wouldn't listen. They were too busy talking over me. I let Natalie know why I was being harmed. I let her mom know why I was being harmed. I let Alicia and Maddie know why I was being harmed. I reached out to my friends. I went to the bullies and to the source of the rumors. I went to my friends like I was supposed to. I went to the police like I was supposed to. They sent me to mental health, and mental health did nothing but take up all of my money by going to these services, eating up your Medicare and Medicaid money as well as my time and my gas. I didn't threaten to kill anyone before Natalie. Before that situation where Natalie got her brains blown out. Guess how many times I threatened to kill Natalie? 0. Not even once did I ever. Ted Bollinger, I didn't threaten his life until after my grandma's funeral. And that situation, half of it, is recorded. That officer did not write a police report. That was a 911 call that should have been taken seriously. Scott DeCosta's excuse, he didn't even watch the video. His excuse, when he gave me the video for not watching it, was that my friend Graham had told him that I was bipolar. No. You know why he claimed that? Because if he gets to pretend that I'm bipolar or schizophrenic or delusional, he doesn't have to do anything.